Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Taste of the Week, with me, your most gracious host, Rufus J. Stone. I do appreciate you all being quite so patient as you are, because unfortunately, last week, as you may have noticed, there was not an episode of Taste of the Week because I was frightfully ill with the common cold. Oh yes, in my old age, I do have to take extra good care of myself, considering that my body is not quite as sprightly and tough as it was during Nam or Malaysia. Oh yes, I am not the man I used to be. I'm a little bit more fragile, I must admit, muscular, a bit like Grandmama's china teapots, yes. They were most shatterable, oh yes, indeed. Now, for our inaugural episode of... What was that? Oh, we already did an episode this month. Oh yes, indeed we did. Now, instead, for this episode that we will be doing today, that is most overdue, as I mentioned, because of my earlier mentioned illness, we will be looking at a very popular and modern and hip snack with the kiddies. Indeed, yes, we will be looking at a very popular roasted or fried, depending on the making of this particular snack, potato snack called Monster Munch. Yes, and here we are. Now, as with our last two episodes, the variety of the snacks on display today are a trio of flavors to give a slight taste of variety to the proceedings. Oh yes. Now, today the flavors we have got are, oh yes, roast beef. Not entirely sure why it requires yellow packaging, but who am I to judge? The second flavor we will eat will then be a pickled onion. Oh yes, I'm quite a good fan of pickled onion, I must admit. Very nice with the old-fashioned cheese sandwich. Oh yes, mightily tasty indeed. And then our third and final flavor of the day will be flamin' hot, spelled like an inebriated cowboy from the West. And somewhat inconspicuous because it doesn't actually specify an exact flavor, it just says flamin' hot as a general prerogative of flavor. Quite concerning, but I'm not one to shy away from the unknowns of the world, so we will try it anyway. But just to emphasize my point, as you can probably see here, spelled flamin' hot as a big drunk cowboy from 1865 has spelled it. It's quite confusing, really. Not my type of thing to try, but like I said, I'm a man of open-mindedness and intrigue, so I will try it anyway. But first, we'll try the flavour that I'm sure most of my British compatriots are very familiar with, the good old-fashioned bit of roast beef. Oh yes, now, if there's one thing more traditional than drinking tea, having a good old fox hunt and beating the French, it's a good bit of roast beef for us Brits. Oh yes, quite so. Now, I can't quite smell the taste of roast beef just from the aromas, but I do smell a distinct flavour of fried, emaciated potatoes and crappy chemicals, if you will. As I said earlier, I'm not one to not try new things, so let's venture into the world of these potato snacks. Despite being light, they do take quite a long time to chew down because of the sheer size of the potato snacks. But I must say, rather pleasurable. Something more that my grandkids and great-grandchildren would most take pleasure in eating, I do think, in their lunch boxes. The thing is, when I was a young lad, we used to get potato snacks much of this similar nature in paper bags. Of course, the issue there was that the grease on these snacks would melt through the paper bags and would burn our hands. That's why they called me Scabby Hands back in primary school. It was quite horrible. Yes. Anyway, on to the second flavour, pickled onion. Now, this isn't so much of a commonly recognised traditional British flavour, but it is still very, very tasty of a flavour to have with one of the most treasured sandwiches on this glorious island, the traditional humble old ham and cheese sandwich with a nice bit of butter. If you combine that sandwich with some pickled onions or some onion marmalade or some Branston pickle, it is the most pleasurable thing. Oh, it's just delightful. Just delightful. Pity that I haven't got any cheese sandwiches with me today, but I'll try this nonetheless because it may prove interesting as to perhaps try with a cheese sandwich in the future. Oh, yes. Very interesting, as it has somewhat the same consistency as the roast beef flavoured crisps. Oh yes, very, very similar indeed. I can definitely tell it has that pickled onion flavour. It has the sauciness to it of Branston pickle, but also the somewhat tangy flavour of a nice little pickled onion from the old chip shop. Oh yes, it's quite nice indeed. A bit too sweet for my liking, but regardless, it gets the thumbs up from old Rufus. Oh yes, quite. Now, on to the last flavour, and one I'm a little bit reticent to try because I'm not so familiar with it, but like I said at the beginning, and like I've said many times before, I'm a man of many words, and many lies, and many words, so I'll still try it regardless. Now, this is of course the aforementioned Flamin' Hot flavour. Oh yes, for you ladies out there. Certainly a different colour, I must admit, but then again, I'm not one to shy away from trying new things, so bottoms up, as they used to say. Oh dear me. If you tried to give that to one of the good old Indian sepoys I used to work with during the Malaysian War, oh, they would laugh their faces off. That wasn't spicy at all. Oh, that was trifling mild. Just pure salt and potato. Quite disappointing, but not terrible. Still somewhat enjoyable. However, if I were to give my personal recommendation, I would still give it to the roast beef. Pickled onion definitely comes second, and this comes last. Not terrible, none of them are actually quite that bad, but at the same time, I'm going to stick with that rating regardless, because I believe it is the most fair and the most well-judged, accurate description of how I personally feel about these fried potato snacks. Now, I do hope you have enjoyed this episode. Sorry about the wait. Like I said last week, I was frightfully ill, so you did not get an episode last Sunday. But hopefully we should be on track to do another video of this series every Sunday from now on. If there are any difficulties, I will be, of course, here to let you know beforehand. But until next time, I thank you for coming to watch Taste of the Week with me, Rufus J. Stone. And until next time, keep your taste buds tingling and your ears waggling.